Hello, and welcome to An Introduction to Scratch. This is part of our online makerspace program for the summer of 2020. Though we can't be together, we are going to use online Facebook, YouTube, and Zoom calls to continue our experience through the summer reading program. So this is just an introduction to Scratch, which is the computer language that we're going to use for a lot of our coding classes this summer. Scratch is a really easy to use language. It's designed for kids by MIT, but it's also powerful enough for adults to make all kinds of amazing creations. So I encourage everyone to get a little bit more information as we go through this. All right, so let me ask, what are the different ways that you interact with computers? I want you to take a second to type your answer into chat so I can see what you think. Just put it right into the comments underneath this Facebook live stream. How many of those ways that you interact with computers let you be creative? A lot of times when we're using a computer, we're browsing the internet, maybe we're watching a video, maybe we're playing a game. But when we learn to code, that gives us the chance to be creative with a computer, to make something new, to make something interesting and exciting, and put that out into the world to share with others. So it's a really fun thing to do, and that's why coding has become so popular. So, what is Scratch? Scratch makes it really easy to create programs or code because it uses ready-made blocks, like little jigsaw pieces that fit together. So you are in complete control, but you don't have to worry about, did I type that right? Did I spell that right? Or any of those sorts of things. In the usual Scratch project, you have scripts that control little characters that move around. Those characters are called sprites. And over here you can see an example of the most famous of the Scratch sprites, and that's our little Scratch cat. Anyway, you can use code to move these characters around, to add sound, to change the backgrounds, and do all kinds of other things. And I'm going to give you a little introduction to how that all works in a bit. Okay, all the sprites appear on the part of the screen called the stage. And that's basically where all the action happens. So, sprites are things that can move around on the stage in a project. They could be animals, people, cakes, spaceships. In fact, you can take a picture of yourself and use it as a sprite in Scratch. You can download pictures and upload them into Scratch to use. You can draw your own sprites right in Scratch. So you have a lot of opportunity to make all kinds of different sprites. Scripts make those sprites come to life. They're colored blocks that you drag with your computer mouse or with your finger on a tablet, and they click together like jigsaw pieces, like little magnets. And each block has one instruction for the computer. Because computers are dumb and you are smart. So you need to put together a set of instructions for the computer to follow. That's what the script is. Scratch reads through the script from the top to the bottom, and it does exactly what you tell it to do. Blocks are the different instruction blocks that can do lots of different things. So they are what we use to build our script. The stage is where all the action takes place, and the sprites move all over the stage. But you can also change the background images, which we call backdrops, and you can even make those move and be animated. And then there are libraries. Lots of ready-made things to get you started. You don't have to use them, but you certainly can. What's nice about Scratch is that even with nothing on your computer, just starting fresh, you can get in there and make something really cool using just the libraries provided. So there are sprites, backgrounds, sounds, music, all kinds of great stuff. Of course, as you learn and grow, you can go ahead and make your own sprites and backdrops and sound clips and music and all that crazy stuff. So, in Scratch, you can do projects. Scratch is all about inventing and experimenting, having fun. You'll see an Explore section where you can look at millions of programs of code created by other people just like you. There are animations, games, music, art. It's pretty amazing. We're going to start by animating our own fairy tale, either one that we know or one that we made up. And then we're going to share it out so everybody can see our cool creations. So we're going to go ahead and get started now. You can use an offline editor. You can actually download Scratch onto your computer if you want to. But if you don't want to, you can just use the website. The website does work on tablets and it works on computers, so test it out. Our website is going to be scratch.mit.edu. And you're going to click on Join Scratch and give the information that you need. Parents, if your kid is under 13, you will need to give them permission to create an account. And then you're going to go ahead and click Create. There are all kinds of tutorials once we get there, and I'm going to show you this in a moment, but we're going to start with getting started with Scratch. All right, I'm going to switch over to our Scratch window. Here we are, scratch.mit.edu. You're going to click on Join Scratch. Make up any username you want, just make sure that it's something you remember. I suggest, until you get used to it, you write it down and put it somewhere safe. Then you need to make a password. Your password shouldn't be anything too obvious, like your name or the name of your pet. So if you want to combine a couple things, maybe like 2 pets' names with a number in between, that's a nice secure password. Once you've done that, you're going to hit Next, fill out the information, and eventually you will need your parent to give you permission if you are under 13. I'm going to go ahead and sign into my account. My username is WarrenLibNG or NJ, so you can find me anytime that way. And here we go. Now I'm in Scratch. Up at the top here, you're going to see a couple things. That's just the Scratch logo that will take you back to the main page. Under Create, this is what we're going to click to make our own program, which is what we're going to do today. Under Explore, you'll see that there are all kinds of programs made by others that you can explore and get ideas. Under Ideas, these are kind of your tutorials that I mentioned. Okay, and they've got all kinds of different tutorials that you can do. I encourage you to try as many as you like. The About page tells you about Scratch. Search lets you actually search for fellow users. So we're going to make sure that we're sharing our usernames so we can find one another and be friends on Scratch. Mail, this is where you can send and receive messages. And folders let you organize your stuff. So you can see I have all kinds of different projects started. From here, I can share my projects with my friends. Okay, let's go back to Create. Here we go. We have created the basic Scratch program. Here's our sprite, our little cat, right? And he moves around. You can click him and move him around, or you can move him with code. This is the stage that he's on, and as I said, we can come on down here, choose a backdrop, and put in anything we like. Put our cat down here on the road. Maybe we want to add a friend, so we're going to click on Choose a Sprite. And let's see, I'm gonna put in a bear. I don't know why I like bears. Okay, so it's just that easy to add sprites and backgrounds. Here is where we're gonna add our script. And these are all of our code blocks. So if you look, the bright blue are all of our motion blocks. So for example, I have my bear, and I can say, hey bear, move 10 steps. And you can see he's moving 10 steps each time I do that. Under Looks, this lets you actually change the appearance of your sprite. So you can make it say hello. Okay, you see where he says hello? Or you can change something about the bear. For example, I can change his color. Should change. Unless this one won't. Oh yeah, there we go. See how it changed color? And we can do it again. Hello. So there are all kinds of fun things that you can do with your sprites. Sounds allow you to add a sound. For example, instead of saying hello, or maybe we'll move our bear out of the way, and we can make our other sprite go ahead and now you'll notice here under sounds you can hit on that plus again and choose any sound you want. They have all kinds. So maybe instead of our cat meowing, we'll make it sound like a duck. Go back to our code. And now when I click on it, he sounds like a duck, which is silly. Events allow us to start and stop things when it gets input to the computer. So, for example, if I want to start all of my actions with my go flag and start a whole bunch of things all at a time, I attach them to that block. Okay. Or if I want my bear to only move when I press the space bar on my computer, I can do that too. So these are all the things that take input and then do something. Controls are a little different. These are things like telling it to wait or telling it to do something 10 times. So for example, going back to my cat, maybe I want it to sound like a duck 10 times. I'm going to click that block inside my special repeat block, and when I click on the green flag, okay? So these we will talk about more because they can get more complicated, but they're really powerful tools. Sensing actually lets your sprites interact with their environment. We'll get to this more when we start designing games. Operations let you do basically math that lets you control what's happening. Again, these are really helpful for games, so we're not going to pay too much attention to them right now, but you're welcome to play. Variables let you create things like scoring and things like that. Again, probably more something we're going to use when we make games. You can also use these for timers. And then you can actually design your very own blocks if you want to. By pulling together separate standard blocks, you can make your own block, which is really great as we get to functions. So why don't we clear all this out? We're going to hit the garbage can, get this all kind of back to status quo, and come up here to tutorials. Click the Getting Started tutorial. And this is what I want you to work on for your first tutorial. If you play the video, here we go.
With Scratch, you can make your own stories, games, and animations. Let's start by grabbing a move block. We can click the block to run it. There are many other blocks to choose from. Check out the different categories. Let's go to the sound category and grab a play sound until done block. I'll snap this onto our move block. When do we want these code blocks to run? Add an event block on top to start the code. I'll add the when green flag clicked block. You can easily reorder or delete these blocks at any time. Add as many characters as you want to your project and code each one. Check out the tutorials page for ideas and inspiration.
Okay, so that's our basic idea here. Your first challenge from me is to use these basic blocks to create a simple animation. Pick any sprite you want, any background you want, and make that sprite move in that screen, in the stage, and make it make a sound in that stage. When you're all done, you come up here and you're gonna name your creation. So I might name it first code, whatever you want. You can save this to your computer if you want to, or you can share it to the world. So this is now a shared project. Next week, we're going to start our first 3-week workshop called Animate with Code. And in it, we're going to use Scratch to create our first animations. We're going to learn to storyboard, learn to move characters, change scenes, create our own sprites and our own sounds, and much more. To join, go to the event calendar, scroll down, and find Animate with Code on the 22nd. It'll take place at 3 o'clock each Monday. So all you have to do is click View More and enter your information. Now, you must provide an email address for this program because we're going to use Google Classroom and we're going to use Zoom to interact with this program. Make sure that you give me all of that information so that you can participate to the fullest extent. I'm sure you're probably familiar with Google Classroom, but in Google Classroom, I'll be able to share our different assignments for each week. You'll be able to post a link to your creation because every time that you finish your project, you can click on Shared and see your project page and see this copy link. You can copy that and share your creation on Google Classroom with all of us. So this is just a way that we're going to keep ourselves organized. You're not going to get graded or anything like that. It's just a place for us to be able to share, and if you forget what you're supposed to do, you can go back. I'll post extra resources and videos there to help you out because you don't only have to code for the 1 hour a week with me. You can code all week long and really get creative. If you have any questions about this program, please feel free to send me an email at sroberts@warrenlib.org. I'm happy to answer any questions and help you get registered so that when we get started on Animate with Code on June 22nd, you are all ready to go. In the meantime, go into Scratch, try some of those fun tutorials, and share what you've learned. I'll see you on the 22nd.